Let's see. Oh, I didn't even realize that we were on. I was just getting my stuff together. Okay. Um, Read the disclosure, please, before we get into the midday video, midday report, which I think some of you have grown to love. So hopefully you read that, and we'll get going. Hey guys, my name is Scott Rowe, the Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. As you see, I'm a little disheveled because it's been a long day already. Been up since 4:45. Rode the boat in, wrote my note, did my morning call, traded the open, managed my positions, figured things out, and here I am now at 12:15 before I head out to, you know, brush it all off and go to the gym. So I want to do a quick midday video. So with that being said, this morning we were down 12 handles, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is it. The top is in for the 2019." I'm like, "Why?" Anyway, I was like, "Let's just simplify. Let's use the 8 day. Let's use 3073. I think that's a chart that I posted on the public Twitter and said maybe we could buy versus that, at least cover some hedges versus that. Look to see if we, could buy things red to go green. It's a simple term. So what I mean by that, so if just say the futures are down 12, key names could be down with the market. So what I do is if I'm in those names, I look to buy those verse levels that I think still makes sense to be long if the trade didn't change. And then, they go green and push a little bit. I sell those, then I keep my position. Or if you're a day trader, you're not in positions and you're just looking to create cash flow, you can do that too. Lots of different ways to do it. When I'm in kind of portfolio approach when we're a little extended, I also, besides having 6 to 8 positions or more, I also have a spider hedge usually, or some kind of ETF hedge. So like today I came in, I was covering the spiders short pre-market because 307.50-ish was a big area coming in from wherever it was. And then you just continue to go on your day. So let's just go through some charts. Here's the S&P cash. Yesterday it hit 3102, which was the high. And then came in, and then today, what do we do? Look at this little light blue line. This little light blue line is the 8 day moving average. It's been, our roadmap, and it's been a great place to add to longs this entire way up. It's almost a month old. Happy birthday to this active sequence. Everyone's like, Red Dog, what's an active sequence? An active sequence is when the market kind of ignites and starts riding the 8 day higher. When that happens, you try and be long a bunch of positions and then use a tier system to trade around them to create cash flow and also sit in them and let the market make you money versus you always having to trade. You're allowed to sit in positions. You don't always have to trade them. You're allowed to also give them some room, and you're also allowed not to be perfect. So anyway, today we put a low in what at 3,078 above 3,073. So if you bought 3,078 versus 3,073, you did just fine. The spies themselves, what a move. Look at that, right off the 8 day. Jesus Louise. What I say, we'll see if today's weakness can be absorbed. I will cover most of my hedge pre-market and see how the tape feels to figure out if I can get flat the hedge, or hold some, see if it reclaims 308.15. And if it does, which is the prior day's low, all of a sudden, you're back in action. And now this looks very similar. It's not even extended. We're not even overbought right now in the oscillator. The oscillator is like neutral. So, things can continue to move, and this trend has been fantastic. This gap up that held, usually if a gap up holds and it's a pro gap, you move in the same direction of that gap because that shows you power. So anyway, I'm still short small spies, but a lot less than I had overnight. So anyway, that's that. IWM was very tricky. Um, Thank goodness I gave it a little bit of room. So it opened below 157.81. Okay, now it's back above that. This was definitely not easy. I was long on this day, added on that day. I even added when it went above 159.27. Looked great, and then it failed. Not failed, but drifted down. So I had to get out of some and lose on that. And then I took home a decent amount overnight. So the first move was down. So at least it happened fast. So why is that good? Because once you get a reactionary low, so sometimes they talk about a 5 minute low means it makes a low in a 5 minute on the first 5 minutes. So you could buy versus that or use that as a stop, or it happens in 15 minutes or it happens in 30 minutes. So anyway, right around 9:45, I tweeted to Red Laurel Access, said, hey, we have the morning low. That's the low I'm going to use as a stop. Okay, so how do you look at that on the 1 day? You go here. Okay, wow, got close. So this was your reactionary low. It happened in the first 2 minutes. That was 157.19. Okay, so I had no, I didn't have stops in to take me out pre-market. I actually bought more. Then it came up. I reduced a little because I'm like, hey, I didn't sell it down here, and now we're back into 157. Let me reduce some to get comfortable, and then that's when I have all these positions going, and I put in a mechanical stop, saying, okay, I'll put my stop in at 157.05 or 157.10, wherever it was. Came into here, thank goodness I wasn't looking at it because it didn't get below this. It put a double bottom in, and now it's up here, and at least it was calculated. You have no idea what's going to happen overnight. All you could do is in the first 5, 15, 30 minutes is find the reactionary low after the market does some discovery and then use that versus your swing. Sometimes you could add versus what you had overnight and even make more money if things come up like this. That's not the case for me. I'm still down in the position a little bit, but it could have been worse if I puked it out and didn't do it the right way. So anyway, so now you go back to this. Where are we now? You know what? It reclaimed this area, stopped everybody out who had, like, I guess, mechanical stops, and now you have a low here. So this will be my low moving forward, 157.19 on the amount of shares that I have. I have less shares that I had overnight, and I have less shares that I definitely had into this spot, which you usually want to sell high and buy down. But anyway, so now this just like looks a little bit bigger, a little looser and wider. So this also has to kind of go up a little bit. So now you could say there's room. Like this isn't as important now because it's out of there. Now whatever this high will be important. So now you have a bigger upper area. So this is your new upper area. So it's trying to show commitment to, this move, which is nice. So now let it go sideways, and then maybe it's 3 days, maybe it's 2 weeks, who knows? Maybe there's a bigger trade. Look, see this. So this is what I wrote, guys. Watch. I'm not sure what I'll do. I might try and add versus a 5, 15, 30-minute low and then use that low later for a stop. Right there. This is in my language every day in my, morning call / the 14 to 20 names and ETFs that I post. I post our chart and I give a short-term active plan. If this happens, then do that. If that happens, then do this. Okay, that's how you have to operate as a trader. Okay, because an opinion is an opinion unless the market confirms it. So anyway, now that we had some discovery, looking back, it's not the end of the world, right? This isn't the end of the world that this happened. It's still in the top end, showing upper commitment to this. And now the longer it goes sideways, perhaps at another time, okay, this could then take out this area and give you, bigger upside. We'll see. But that's the IWM. The Qs, let's see, what did the Qs do? Qs snap back pretty fast, still in this upper range. Very same strategy though, same scenario. The question was, would the 8-day hold? It didn't even get to the 8-day. Wow. So right here, it's still above this trend, and still, if you're looking for leadership, this is leadership right there. And if you're looking to hold longs, this is one of your ETFs to hold longs. But anyway, that's that. So all in all, the morning weakness was absorbed just like Monday. So with a plan, knowing what needs to hold in order to keep the current composure is much better than listening to the TV set, watching Powell, seeing all the top callers, so everyone say whatever they think should happen because the Fed, excuse me, hold on. Woo, excuse me. Sorry. Anyway, no one says excuse me, or no, what is this? But God bless you, right? That's what you say when someone sneezes. Anyway, so that's the cue. So now let's get to stocks. Apple, wow. Apple feels a bit tired up here. I'm very small as I made a new low at a new high. I'm sorry. I'll see if I could add Versa 515 minute low. 258 is the 8-day. That's very important. Okay. So, here we are. This is the prior high. Now it's already above that. Wow. It held here and took that out. I actually sold it trying to be safe. I'm like, hey, what I've been in this for another nice active sequence. Remember this buyable spot verse 245 and adding here. Well, all of a sudden, look at this nice trend above the 8-day. Isn't that the same coincidence? This didn't actually happen. So as long as you're above the 8-day, you try not to be short. You try and buy dips and try to add on nice tight patterns that break out. And now here's your high. So what I did do, which could bite me in the tush, is I went out and I sold the 267.50 calls for Friday. Today's Wednesday. if they were 50 cents, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I don't want to short Apple. I'm out of it now. So maybe, after a move like this into a Wednesday, sometimes it gets extreme and then they pull things back a little bit to Thursday, Friday because they want to suck out premium to everyone who's been in the call. So anyway, I sold the 267.50, so that gives me the 268. That's $4 more between now and then, and I'm sure I could maneuver it in ways between now and then. I didn't do it here, I didn't do it there, so did it now. Kind of the same thing I did with JP Morgan. JP Morgan, you know what? On this day, I sold the 132s for this Friday, and then on this day, went a little higher. I added it up, I cost averaged it up, and now this whole thing happened. And actually, looks like JP Morgan is putting in a bottom here today on this, but I have room to 132. I would think that, here, let's see, JP Morgan is a leader last week. I sold the 132 calls naked. So everything I do, Red Level Access knows, and I kind of remind people and give them the strategy. I sold blah blah blah. A close below the Friday. A close below that, meaning 132 on Friday. I get to keep all the premium. So I think I have enough room between now and then. Even though I did it here too, and I covered into that. And this day, which was a Friday, could have messed up that strategy. But I figured from here to there was extended from the 8th day. The same thing from here to there extended from the 8th day. Just a way to knick-knack and trade. So short JP Morgan by doing calls at a higher strike, and then this morning I was buying Bank of America, different. So Bank of America, I outlined this area. So let's see what I said in Bank of America. Bank of America hit a high of 33.60. I've been long since the 29.75 area, which is down here. Now let's see if I could add if it holds 32.50. Which I did add. I had actually orders in at 32.56 and I wasn't looking, and then all of a sudden I looked over and I had all this Bank of America. It went through it and came back above it and it was hanging at 32.70, and now I have more Bank of America, and by selling strength I'm able to buy a dip, and now this whole chart changes a little bit. Now this is your new point of reference. Okay, this doesn't really matter either. It could be a little resistance, but at this point I went to 32.48, and that is your new point of reference. It was today's reactionary low. So if you sold some strength into 33.60, then today you were able to figure out how to buy more. Okay, and that's what I did. Same thing I did here. I sold into strength, and then I remember on this day I was buying it down, and then it went. So I'm staying in Bank of America. I've been long Bank of America since here. It's been a nice swing trade. Yes, I've been long it for over a month or so, and managing it. That's what I mean when I say manage it. Sell strength, buy a dip, continue to hold it and create cash flow besides sitting in it and letting it hopefully make higher highs. So anyway, that was that. Microsoft, I did the same thing. What was the thought today? Microsoft hit a high of 147.57, which was there. It's been a great hold. Many places to trade it since 138.75, which is right here. I bought it. This was your gap up after earnings. I bought it Versat. It was calculated, and then you had that, the Jedi news, and then I was long Verse, meaning long Verse 42.60. It never violated. It made it easy. And then on this day above 145, I added, and now here we are, stair stepping again, selling strength, buying a dip. I bought some this morning, pre-market down. Now we'll see if we can add around 146 to manage it. Where did it go to today? Went to 146.28. Now you'll see if we go sideways again to go. So Microsoft's been a great long. Unfortunately, Tesla, I did not come in long. Today I've been long since here. Where did it get down to? 348.29. I was hoping I had some orders in to buy some if it got down to 346. Still look at where the 8 day is. What a nice move. Great option play. In here it's basing. Extended, letting it catch up, caught up, and then this was your day that I actually posted in the public Twitter sphere. It was a great move, and then you had some follow through. I held it, and then I actually got rid of it yesterday. Not great either. And now I need to find a way in, because I do think that there is a possibility that Tesla, in the course of the next, especially if they have another quarter like this, like why can't Tesla, let's just get back to the 380. 380 is right here, and 380 is the range that it couldn't get above for like 2.5 years. So even short term, it is extended, and it's been fantastic. And look at this trend above the 8 day. What are we trying to do? Be long, momentum. People caught short, moves fast. But you go to your 5 year and get rid of, just to look at it, this it couldn't get above this for 2-3 years, but all of a sudden gets back up here and then has another quarter the way it just had, and then that can go. So if you're trying to short this, be very careful. Don't get caught besides a cute short. Don't let it turn ugly on you where you're rolling it up and you're short for months and you spit on every Tesla that's driving by. No, you're better off being long when it's in this kind of trend. So anyway, here it is. So at this point, I wish it came in a little bit more, maybe go sideways a little bit so I could re-enter it again. It was a great trade from 315 up to, up to 345. That's a 25-point trade in Tesla besides the options, besides this trade. So anyway, that's that. What's Clovis doing? That was a little guy that somebody gave me today and was really good, and I bought a lot of it. Anyway, somebody also was asking me about it, so it got above this and seems like why can't it fill this gap? So I'm going to try and stay in this, and you'll see it on my disclosures, on my tweets. You guys, when I bought it like 595, and now it's where is it? It's 645. So I would think it could work this way, work higher. Big wide range bar held in the middle end, could continue. Other high beta tech, Facebook I'm in, it's not really, acting so great. Did a little bit of a red dog reversal here where it pushed above the high of yesterday and came back below. Not the end of the world, but not great. So I'm long overnight. I did buy it red this morning. Okay, I bought it meaning it was down 80 cents. I bought it, went green, sold some, then went through the prior high, bought more, sold some, and now I'm sitting in some, waiting to see can it hold, 50% of this candle to try and maybe keep some commitment to this, go sideways, so then at some point this active new sequence stays alive. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's a big day like that, down day, and then does a whole lot of nothing. But we'll see. I said it needs to hold 192.50 to 193.50 to be any good. What's the low here? 192.85, so right in that zone. So at this point, we'll see what this. I'm hoping it holds this. I'd love to have Facebook back in the go-to list. That we could trade every day, because it hasn't been. Same way Amazon's been horrendous and Google's been wishy-washy. Google's been fine. Amazon, still look at that. Oh, wow, look at Amazon. Jeez. Remember, it had it absorbed those earnings which weren't great, and then I was long on this day. I sold some, but I held it, and then I got out on this day. And now just doing a whole lot of nothing. Now it's below 1767, which was right here. This was this pivot. What is this low here? This low is 1767. Wanted to see if it does a red dog reversal, get below and reclaims it. At this point, no. So I'm just avoiding it. And it's relatively weak, doing absolutely nothing. Something, see if it holds 1767 or continues to head lower. And that's what it did. So I'm avoiding it. I love when Amazon's in play. It moves has such big ranges. It moves fantastic. But when it's not, you got to look elsewhere. And anyway, we'll see how this goes. Maybe it does some kind of descending channel here, and then at some point wakes back up as we get closer to Christmas or something. So that's that. And really, it's 12:33. I have to actually start getting moving. At this point, the indices held the 8th day and absorbed the down move. Some names better than others. Microsoft and Apple have been a focus. They both, went from red to green and had a push. Facebook even, yesterday, thank goodness, if you took it home long, you had a way out where it went from red to green and did a push, and then maybe now you're in smaller, waiting to see if it holds half of that candle. Banks, great buy in the hole. Now we'll see if we could trade versus that. Even IWM kind of held where it had to. I'm still in some. Now we'll see if, that was the shakeout before a move. Maybe not. Not much going on in new issue land. Some guys played beyond for a day 2, but not much here. Did a red dog reversal at 75.65 and it's trying to poke its head up, but be careful, it's broken. It's another great example of how when it's above the 8 day, 21 day, there's momentum, there's shorts trapped, and then when it's below it, like it has been since 148, look at that. Every time at the 8 day, it's been sold. So maybe down here, there's a trade, especially if you're not caught in this mess, from here into there, but we'll see. This DDOG was, pretty decent today, but failed at 41.44. Got to know those momentum levels. It pushed above and didn't have much power. I was actually playing it there, and then I got out of it. Roku, what's Roku doing? Roku looks good. The whole pattern changed now. Remember I was talking a few days ago that I thought the story wasn't over, and if it gets above 123.56, it could squeeze back to test the gap. Well, now look at it. Looks pretty damn good. I did buy some Disney today on the dip, like right before. Whoa, what happened there? I got. That's funny. I'm long Disney. I got along before, and now I got to go see what's happening over there. That's actually pretty cool. It must have come out with news. No wonder why on my Twitter stream someone said "Bam." That's funny. So if you're in Red All Access, which this is for everybody, show you how membership has its privileges. Okay, what'd I do? Uh, right here. This was an hour ago. Okay, look at that. Hold on. Um, This was at 10:49 because I do update and I give trades live on Red All Access. I bought a little Disney versus the gap support. It's 136.21. I said the first gap support, which is 136.21. Right now it's trading at 137.40. Okay, let me go reduce some. So anyway, lots of different ways you could, you could, if you've watched my entire video today, then you definitely need to be a member of Red All Access if you're not one already. I'm going to post a month trial, which I think that if you try it and you read my note, you get the 14 to 20 charts, you watch my morning call, my recap, it's definitely going to help guide you through your process and help you and teach you how to game plan and teach you tactics and teach you hopefully a way to be consistent enough where you could do this for a long time. And I've been doing it for 22 years. Anyway, I got to jump. I'll see you soon.